Good evening. My name is Samorna Dowe. I am here to redeliver a speech by Elie Wiesel, Perils of Indifference. Elie Wiesel gave this impassioned speech in the East Room of the White House on April 12, 1999. I chose this speech simply because Wiesel inspired me of his courage to stand against the norm of the wider world and motivated the world to stop the indifference. Mr. President, Mrs. Clinton, members of Congress, Ambassador Holbrooke, Excellencies, friends, we are on the threshold of a new century, a new millennium. What will the legacy of this vanishing century be? How will it be remembered in the new millennium? Of course, it will be judged, and judged severely, in both moral and metaphysical terms. These failures have cast a dark shadow over humanity. 2 world wars, countless civil wars, chains of assassination, bloodbath in Cambodia and Algeria, India and Pakistan. So much violence, so much indifference. What is indifference? The word means no different. It's change on our natural state in which the line blurs between light and darkness, dusk and dawn, crime and punishment, cruelty and compassion, good and evil. Is it a philosophy? Is the philosophy of indifference conceivable? Can one view indifference as a virtue? Is it necessary at times to practice it simply to keep our sanity, to enjoy a fine meal and a glass of wine, while the world around us experiences harrowing upheavals? Of course, indifference can be tempting. More than that, seductive. It is so much easier to look away from victims. It is so much easier to avoid rude interruptions of our work, our hopes, our dreams. It is, after all, awkward, troublesome to be involved in another person's pain and despair. Yet, for the person who is indifferent, his or her neighbor of no consequence, and therefore their lives are meaningless. Indifference reduces the other to an abstraction. Indifference elicits no response. Indifference is not a response. It is not a beginning, it's an end.
You've got mail.
And therefore, indifference will always be the friend of the enemy, for it benefits the aggressor, never the victim, whose pain is magnified when he or she feels forgotten. The political prisoner in prison, the hungry children, the homeless refugees. And in denying their humanity, we betray our own. Indifference then is not a sin. It is a punishment. And yet, my friends, good things have happened in this traumatic century. The defeat of Nazism, the collapse of communism, the rebirth of Israel on its ancestral soil, Israel peace treaty with Egypt, and remember, the meeting filled with drama and emotion, held by you, Mr. President, in this very place. I was there, and I will never forget it. This time the world was not silent. This time we do respond. This time we intervene. Does it mean that we have learned from the past? Does it mean that society has changed? Has a human being become less indifferent and more human? Is today's justified intervention in Kosovo, led by you, Mr. President, a lasting warning that never again will a deportation, the terrorization of children and their parents be allowed anywhere in the world? Will it discourage other dictators in other lands to do the same? Thank you.